Right, guys, so this is a video about the US Refugee Admissions Program, the whole process, and whether or not there's a actual timeline you can look into when you join this. Because a lot of people keep on asking how long, how long. But also, mostly, this is about my journey and my experience with this. So far, I'm not in the US yet, still waiting for our final approval, but I will take you through the processes for me so far. And the reason why I thought of making these videos is I am a disabled quadriplegic, and for that reason, I feel a lot of people with medical conditions or children with medical conditions don't know how to go about, what will happen, and whether or not they will qualify or not. That being said, please remember there is scams out there and be aware. And before you do anything, make sure that you actually double check what you do and don't pay anybody anything. You are in a process or you're going for a process that is totally free. There is some stuff that you will need to pay back in the future, but we'll get to that in another video. For now, stay safe, don't get scammed, and be wary of what and who you listen to. Anything I put up, I will try and verify and give you resources as to where I found that. So stay safe, guys, and let's get into this. Before I continue, my ask just for you to like, subscribe, and maybe join our Facebook group. I intend to build it to where you can find information that is relevant to some questions that come up regularly. So I want to answer that and get everybody's perspective, or as many perspectives or experiences as we possibly can. Remember, it is important to know that not everybody will go through the same exact process. So everybody's process is a little bit different, some similarities, but for most part, it is not exactly the same. And the reason for that is stuff like medical conditions, like in my case, family size, they need to find you accommodation, all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. What was my process that we will be going through in this video will not necessarily be your exact process. As well as the whole program keeps on evolving, getting faster, smoother, and they are ironing out quite a few things. This is the flowchart of the process, more or less, that I think it was RSC created. Other way, it's not my creation. And it gives you a general idea of the flow process of what you will need to go through within this process. So keep that in mind. But what I want to start off with is exactly how long will this process take? From the moment you actually complete your questionnaire to ending up in America. Now, that is a question that nobody can actually answer for you. And the reason is, there's a couple of reasons actually. It is, first of all, they need to assess you. Then the size of the family counts, how many people is part of that family, is in the screening and background checks that you do military training or police training. Is there any criminal actions against any of the family? So there's quite a few factors that come into play. Another factor is also they need to find appropriate accommodation for you on that side. And in a state, so from what I've gathered, they try and put you in a state or close to a place where they think you will fit in best, whether that be for work, medical conditions, etc. So be aware, it is a long process. Don't change anything in middle of your process. Don't add people to your application or remove people. Be sure you know beforehand who's going with uh, and who's not, because your communication with these people is very limited. Uh, and most of the questions you get to ask, you should ask when you're doing your interviews, because contacting them via email or phone is very hard during the process. It is annoying, I know, but it is a fact, and be aware of that. So please, guys, this is a long process, and there's no specific time frame that anybody can actually give you. Now let's talk about the process we went through. And as you know already, the process for everybody may differ, or actually do differ, depending on various factors. So for now, let's just focus on my journey or our whole process up to now. So currently we are in the long wait. We're still waiting for our final approval. But we applied on the statement of interest in June. And when the new questionnaire came out on the 4th of November, we filled that in again. So keep in mind, if you haven't filled in the new questionnaire and they haven't phoned you yet, please remember to actually fill in that questionnaire. So in this diagram, they're talking about 3 interviews. And for us, we didn't have 3 interviews. We only had 2 interviews and a medical. That happened within a week's time. So we had the interview, the first interview, then on the Monday, the Tuesday, the second, and then the Thursday, we had the medical. So after completing the questionnaire, about, let's say, 3 weeks to 4 weeks, we got a call. The thing that happened with us is my wife did not realize it was Church World Services calling. So she kept on declining the call, and at one stage she even thought it's total spam, until she realized, okay, no, this is actually a call from Kenya, and it is Church World Services. So the reason I bring that up is a lot of people miss the call and they don't realize that, and then they freak out afterwards once they realize they missed the call. So if you miss the call, don't worry, they will keep on phoning and calling you until they get hold of you. So that initial call was not really an assessment call. It was more like, are you still interested, and are you still comfortable going ahead and all that, and to book the first interview and second interview dates at once at a disclosed location or undisclosed location. So for us, they wanted to book us on a day that my daughter was not available. She was away on holiday with her grand. So we had to book a week later. And that's another thing. Tell the people if you can't make it. So in our case, they accommodated us and moved the appointment to another date. But keep in mind, once again, do that while you're talking to them. If you want to change the dates or when they phone you, if a date does not suit you. Because once that date is booked, you would like to change it afterwards, that is almost impossible, because getting hold of them or emailing or whatever them is, it's a mission. You are 99% the odds that you won't be able to get hold of them. So then the first interview was the Monday. That was done virtually at the given location, and we had our interview with a Kenya representative of Church World Services. You need to make sure you take all the relevant documentation with you, your passports up to date, If you don't have a passport now, make sure you get one as soon as possible. Currently, the wait, although it was quite quick for us in terms of after the questionnaire, a lot of people has been waiting a couple of months already after they've completed the questionnaire to get any form of call. So then the second interview was with the USCIS people, also at a specified location. Once again, the people was very helpful, friendly, and accommodating. So here we need to talk about the principal applicant, or I'll do that later in the video. But make sure at the point when you do the application, the questionnaire, that you make the best person that, or the person with the best options to qualify the main applicant. So I'll talk more on that a little bit later, but make sure your main applicant is the guy that will be answering the most questions and will be the best suited to bring over your case to the interviewers. So then our process went from there. The Thursday we had to go for our medicals. And I'll go more into detail with the medicals, but make sure when you go on medicals, you take all your medication and your chronic medication info, any illnesses, anything you've got doctor's letters for or can get, rather take them with than sending it afterwards. And that's our main procedure up to now. Now we're basically waiting for final approval or for any new requests or whatever. We did get a call later on from the CWS requesting more documentation. So that we had to email them, and now I think it's easier. You can upload them through the My Case portal, but we'll get to that in a later bit. So if they need anything, they will contact you. In my case, it was requesting more documentation from the SAPS regarding me being in the police force at one stage. We're currently waiting for the final approval, and we're waiting patiently. This is a long wait with lots of patience required. After our interview, the location used in Johannesburg where we went for our interviews was raided. That made all the headlines and whatever. And from there, it seems like a lot of things changed again. More of the interviews is done virtually. And now the question becomes for a lot of people is, how many interviews do you actually go through? In our case, up to now, we've only done 2 interviews. I think they've got everything they required from those 2 interviews. But it is very likely that you might get into a third or even a 4th interview if they find discrepancies in your statements or on any of the information you gave them, or they find or pick up anything in your background checks that they want clarity on. So it does not mean that you will have 2 interviews and that's it, or you'll have 5 interviews. Every case, again, is separate, but I think most people, from what I've heard, go through 2 interviews and then a third if there's anything required, or they missed everything, or they need clarity on one, especially if there's a case of a guilty verdict of some sort of a crime or something, and it is not a major crime, then they want clarity on that. Then you might be called for another interview. The only thing that happened with us is that we were called to ask for more documentation, which we had to upload at that stage. So keep that in mind. There's no fixed interview minimum or maximum amount of interviews you'll have. Each case is individually assessed. Now let's talk about the medicals. So medicals is a big thing, and this is partly or mostly why I decided to do this channel. I am a quadriplegic. I'm wheelchair bound. I've got limited hand movement. So I am basically dependent on my wife in a sense. And one of our biggest concerns was, will we be declined because of my disability? And after going through medicals, I can honestly say I don't think medical, or I'm quite sure medical conditions will not be the reason why you would be declined in any reason. Going through the medicals, make sure you take any documentation regarding your illness or your child's illnesses or whatever. If there's any documentation, doctor's letters, and chronic medication, take letters of that with, because we had to actually come home, go to the doctor and to our GP and get a letter describing my condition, what it's all about, and we had to submit that as well. Even though they did a full examination in medicals. In medicals, they do check everything. Vaccinations, if your kid take away with your vaccination certificates, my daughter only had to get 2, where we had to get 4. And keep remembering that this is just the beginning of the medicals. Once we're on that side, apparently there's a lot more medicals that will be done there. So keep that in mind. Now, another thing about the medicals, for me, one of the big problems is they scan your lungs. And we were concerned about that as well because of my disability. Lung function is not the best, but that's not what they scan for. They scan for TB. So if they question that or something they don't like, they might send you back for more tests, do a swab, and then if needed, they will treat you before you will get actually allowed to participate in the program. Well, it was actually quite hysterical with me getting the x-rays for my chest. I think they took about 20 x-rays because they couldn't get the angle right for me. There's no, the facility that was used did not have a option where we could lie down on a bed or whatever to take the x-rays. It had to be done with me semi-seated in the wheelchair, nurses and staff members trying to hold me in position. But I give them credit. They did a good job in the end. They got the images they required. All was all good, and the doctor was happy. Now, the last thing on this I want to touch on is the willingness of them to adjust and to accommodate your illness or your disability. In my case, I am on certain routines, which ideally I don't want to change. But we did say if flights were to be on the days that might interfere with the routine, we'd like to know a couple of days at least prior so we can adjust the routine that I'm on. However, the doctor specifically noted and requested that our flights be booked in such a way that it does not interfere with my current any routines that I am in. So I had to give detailed information regarding the routines I'm in, regarding taking medications and all sorts of stuff that it's not worth going into here. But the main thing here is they try to accommodate and try to not to stress you out unnecessarily, which I really appreciated. So make sure, give them all the relevant information of any illnesses or disability or things you've got. Make sure it's up to date with letters when you go there as well. With everything being done up to now, up to medicals, we are now in that long wait period. And this is, I think, the most difficult part of it all, because we expect or want to get results quickly. At the very least, tell me, yes, I've been approved, or yes, I've been declined. But we need patience for this, apparently, and it's very hard. So get prepared or be prepared for a long wait. Now, don't try and change anything on your application at this stage. So when you did your application, try and make sure that you don't add somebody to your application that needs to or would want to go off later, or you want to add somebody to your application. Everything you do or try to change on your application now can basically reset it back to the bottom of the pile again. So when you do your application, be sure to do that. Can make this long wait even worse. And for us, it is very difficult at this stage, waiting and just having that patience. So with this, and since we've done everything, we were given the My Case portal access to that. And the whole idea there is to keep track of the progress of your application. The problem, however, it seems, is that they do not update this portal on a regular basis or we would like it to. There's even people that has flown and has already settled in America, and their case portal still show them as still being interviewed on this side. So when you look at your case portal, don't be fixated on where it's stuck, because in our case, it has gone up. Some things has been done, then it went back a stage. It's a total mindfuck with you. So stay calm, keep your head together. The one thing that I do, what I can say is they have updated the case portal to be able to upload requested documents. Now, when we first did it and we had to submit documents, we had to do this via email. And most cases, we did not get a confirmation email back saying we received it. Whereas with the My Case portal, at least when you are requested to upload documents, you get a confirmation that these documents is uploaded. Now, the question becomes, do you upload any documentation now after that if you got a documentation to upload? There is an argument for both sides at this stage because there's no real clarity. So some people say just upload and just to make sure, whereas others say wait for them to actually ask for some documentation to be uploaded. So I don't know. I can't give my opinion on that at this stage. I know there is people that have received a instruction to upload certain documents. So make sure you keep an eye on your emails in case that is required. So once everything is done, the long wait is a long process, obviously, but approval will come via email. And there's a lot of information lately of people being phoned and being told that you have been declined or something like that. There's a lot of people that gets email or WhatsApp messages asking them to give OTPs to their phones and stuff. So be vigilant on that. But the main thing here is your approval will come basically when everything's done, they are happy with everything. But up to that moment, you can at any point be declined. You can be called back for more interviews. Documentation can be requested, or anything like that. And unless you get a formal letter that says you did not get approval, you have not been declined. Official letter telling you that you are declined will be received. So if you haven't received that, you are still in the process. And even if you get that letter, you still got 90 days to approve that. Luckily, we're still in the waiting process. We have not been finally approved, so we're still waiting, but we also have not received any declined letters as such. A question that comes up a lot is, who should be the main applicant? So obviously it needs to be an adult or somebody in the family that's sort of the head of the house. However, in our case, my wife is the principal applicant, and there's a couple of reasons why you want a specific person to be the main applicant. The first reason is that person will be taking most of the serious questions. Basically, that's the person that can make or break your application, and that's the person that should be able to articulate why you feel you are persecuted or why you want to join the refugee program. Another big factor is also dual citizenship. So dual citizenship can become a problem if you're the principal applicant. So if you have dual citizenship, let's say with Germany, the main question is, why can't you just go to Germany to get away from all this rubbish in this country or whatever? And then you will need to prove that you're just as bad off or even worse off in that country where you've got citizenship. And in most cases, you will not be able to do that. However, if you are the principal member and you do not have dual citizenship, but one of the other dependencies or other family members in your application does have dual citizenship, that does not matter because they don't want to split up families. In our case, my wife does not have dual citizenship, nor does my daughter, and I do have dual citizenship for Germany. But they don't care about that because I'm not the principal member and they don't split families, and I'm also dependent on my wife. So keep factors like that in consideration. Another factor is there any crime or convicted felonies or anything like that can become a problem, especially from the principal applicant. A couple of things you should not do at all that I need to touch on. So obviously the first is try not to add or remove anybody to your application at any point. Don't try and make any changes to your application. That might just result in the whole process taking longer. Don't now go out and commit a crime, which is quite obvious. So don't do that. But I think more important than any of that is the fact is once you've got your approval letter, do not go out and sell everything you own and go stay in a bed and breakfast until you get your air tickets. Even that from the approval to getting your air tickets and flying can still take quite some time. And there's also possibilities that flights can get cancelled. America they've got their own problems as well. They've already, there's hints of maybe the budget being cut and all that kind of stuff. So don't go out and sell. By that, I'm not saying start cleaning up or selling excess stuff. It is scary how much rubbish you can accumulate in 50 years. But just don't go out, sell everything, and go stay in a B&B. The odds are, don't resign. The odds are you won't be, your money might not last as long. Don't go out and resign and hope for the best or anything like that. So please, guys, be careful on what you do once you get that approval letter or even during this process. So until you don't have your ticket in hand, don't do anything drastic. I know this is hard. I know it can be short notice. You finally jump in and start selling what needs to be sold. But what you could maybe do is start looking who can be somebody that you can trust that can sell stuff for you once you leave. But don't do it while you're still here and you don't have that final travel ticket. And then finally, guys, if you decide to go over and you're joining this refugee admissions program, good luck to you all. I hope you all the best. If you're one of the people that want to stay, same to you. And, you know, at the end of the day, we all have to do what we have to do for our children, ourselves. In our case, my daughter is the main reason why we're doing this. We even passing with a 92% chance, trying to get into medical. She couldn't get in. She can't get in. So there's no future for her here. I hope you're the best. The best for everybody. Remember, the purpose of these videos is just to give you an idea of the whole process and what we go through. So we don't want to talk too much about giving out information that's not needed or that can result in giving numbers out or getting us in trouble or anything like that. So in the meantime, guys, be patient, wait, and best of luck for everybody. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, and follow the channel.